Hello folks, this is Steve AB4L. I just came home from shopping a little bit ago. I turned on my computer and all I'm getting here is site can't be reached, bleeping computer took too long to respond, check your connections. Now I have rebooted the Spectrum modem. I'm not promoting anything. I'm not recommending anything. The modem I got from Spectrum, I rebooted it. I rebooted my router. I rebooted each of my local hubs just to be sure of everything. Now, when I first went and looked at the WAN modem that I got from Spectrum, it had two blue solid lights, and I'm going, is that right? Is there just no signal actually coming over it, but it's got a connection? Well, when I rebooted it, one of the lights stays blue, which means power on, and the other one alternates between blue and white, which means there's no signal from Spectrum. Now, why am I making this video? Well, normally what I do is I call Spectrum. Now, let me try the Brave browser. Normally I dial into Spectrum and I get the robot girl who will say, are you calling about the account associated with this telephone number? And I'll say yes, and then say, in a few words, can you say what the problem is? And I'll say, no internet, no internet. And then first thing they do is the robot checks to see if they already know about it. So my Brave browser has got a message from my router, WAN, wide area network, connection error, unable to connect to the internet, please contact your service provider or try again later. So depending on what kind of browser you use, now let's try Firefox, the way it handles it to inform you of the fact that there's no actual internet connection varies according to the way the authors of the browser want to do it. Some are smarter about it than others. Google doesn't give a shit about anything. There's something here that says you must log, the connection is timed out. An error occurred in connection to google.com. The site might be temporarily unavailable, too busy. Yeah, right. Unable to load any pages, blah, 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 blah. Try again. See, each one of them has a different way of talking to the human when it doesn't work. Okay, now back to the phone call. I've told you what Spectrum normally does. And now I'm going to show you why I'm making this video. I'm opening my phone and I'm going to go to contacts and I'm going to the one for Spectrum. That's my internet service provider. And I'm going to call.
Welcome to Spectrum. This call may be recorded for quality and security purposes. Para español, marque 5.
Oh, they actually have the thing now.
Are you calling about the account associated with...
Yes.
Great. I'm pulling up your information. In a few words, please tell me what you're calling about.
No internet. No internet.
Okay. Issues with your internet service. Spectrum customers in your currently experiencing an internet, video, and phone service outage. Technicians are working to restore your services as quickly as possible. We apologize for this inconvenience and are doing everything we can to resolve the issue as quickly as possible. Would you like us to call you when your service is restored?
No, no thank you.
All right. Do you have any other technical service questions? Please say yes or no.
No, and goodbye. Now I hung up on him. Okay, now that is the regular message, but the reason why I started making this video is that just like 3 minutes ago when I called in, that's not what it was. What a different voice said was, we are so flooded with calls that we can't handle anything, call back later, and then hung up on me. And so I'm not the only one that called in. But what does that mean? It means that it isn't just my neighborhood. It means that it isn't just Asheboro. Now, I'm making a prediction. Remember, I don't have an internet connection. The second trailing part of this video is going to be where we find out how big the outage was. Now, let's keep in mind that recently there was the big, CrowdStrike outage. And then yesterday for 10 hours, I think it was yesterday for 10 hours, a lot of Microsoft Azure, I mean, I read the list today, was out for 10 hours, and it wasn't one service, it was basically almost everything to do with Microsoft Cloud. And that's not the only people who've been having outages lately. And now my internet service provider got such a deluge of calls like I just made that robot couldn't handle it, and they needed to fall over to an abrupt message that said, we're so flooded with calls, we can't handle you right now, call later, and they just hang up on you. So I'm going to pause. Well, folks, I think I'm back. Yeah. It's all right. The first part I started at around 5:20 p.m. It's now almost 9:40. After it went out and I did the first part, I mowed, I went shopping, I come back, it's 3.5 hours later, and finally, it looks like it's back on. Because when I started the browser up, I had tabs. And then I learned something about the browser. See the /dot page? Now, you know, I'm not promoting anything, I'm not recommending anything. It's one of my regular tabs. Within a few minutes of, quote, getting the internet back, it died again. And I was reading a couple of these things here, and then when I clicked on like the next one, it was can't reach it anymore. So I got fooled for a couple of minutes because this page, the way the code is, if the internet connection goes away, it doesn't refresh itself and say that. Whereas these other pages apparently have things built into them where they're every, let's say, minute, they're checking to see if there's some kind of important advertising update or something. Now, I was just rendering some videos and I decided to look again, turn my browser on, and it seems like it's back. My internet provider is Spectrum. I just got this back, right? Down detector. Oh, look at this. What's the... this is not prepped. I just finished prepping a video for rendering, and I clicked on the browser to see if it's back, and it is, and all I have to do is down detector, and the first choice on the is spectrum. Spectrum outage and reported problems map down detector, Charlotte, Orlando, Cleveland. Wait a minute. I think in the first one I said this is a major outage. Why did I say that? Because when I dialed in, I didn't get the regular message. I got a short one that said that we're so overwhelmed with calls, we're hanging up on you. And then a couple of minutes later, when I prepped to start recording, the regular message was there. But I had wanted to, I knew something big had happened. Charlotte. So it started to kick in around 3 p.m. I found it out a little after 5 p.m. But I was out shopping. I wasn't here. All right, Charlotte, North Carolina, that's 40 miles from here. Orlando, Florida. They've been having more problems, but it's starting after 3 p.m. Hang on. Cleveland, Ohio. The big kick-in is starting, all right. Cincinnati. We'll say 2 p.m. Are they in the next time zone? St. Louis, that is definitely, all right. We're saying that people complain about, in the last 24 hours, about Spectrum, or last since midnight, and there definitely something happened at around 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And the deal is, I predicted, based on having called in and got that surprise that it was a big outage and not just somebody hit the wire down here close to Asheboro like happened one time. One time as I'm coming back from Asheboro to here on 64, the crews were out there trying to restring a cable across 64 because right near, there's a couple of places that sell, I call them mobile homes. They're pre-built and they can come to your lot and drop the whole house right there. Well, there's a couple of them right there, and somebody was delivering a big one, and it hit a cable that crossed the highway. And it happens that that cable was the feed from coming along to here of Spectrum. And it took them a couple hours to fix it. So it wasn't something like that. It was bigger than that. And I have preliminary proof. Spectrum outage. Fox 8. Oh, here we go. Remember, I'm not promoting anything. This is the first. I haven't. Spectrum outage impacts Piedmont Triad. We're in the Piedmont. What's the Triad? Greensboro, High Point, Winston-Salem, like that. 30 miles north of here. Fox 8 WGHP, 2 hours ago. Spectrum outage impacts Piedmont Triad. Spectrum crews are currently, they're just repeating what they got on the phone, currently working to fix an outage in the Piedmont Triad on Wednesday evening. Oh, good. Here we go. Fox 8 is told a damaged fiber line caused the outage. It is unknown at this time how the fiber line was damaged, but Spectrum said a third party caused the damage. This is a developing, and Spectrum customers were told the service expected to be restored around 11 p.m. Well, they beat that. This service finally really did come back on at 9:30. Cheers to the people who did the work. Now, what was the story I told you about a couple of years ago, that somebody that was moving a mobile home into the lot to sell it hit the overhead? It's the same thing. Now, that doesn't mean it was done that way. This could have been digging. This could have been vandalism. But it wasn't here, and it was a big outage. I guess I'm not so retarded like the president so much. Wait a minute. Oh, here's the kind of person that could be doing it. Woman slashes 60 tires on 18 vehicles outside dentist office in North Carolina. Let's see where that happened. Lincolnton. That's further west. I've been there. That's an interesting place. Lincolnton. It's in Lincoln County. It's the county seat. I can still picture in my head what the downtown looks like. It's very nice. It's a very nice town. Spectrum outage 30 minutes ago. WFMY. Okay, that's Greensboro. Let's look there. Spectrum outage reported by Triad users. Company said there have been reports of outages across the state. Now we're getting a larger scope. What did I predict? What did I conclude by looking at? Pause. I'm back. I have an alarm clock radio that I use to remind me that to take my meds real soon. Now it says the company said there have been reports of outages across the state of North Carolina. Murphy to Manio. Murphy's near the western border, Manio's at the coast. Murphy to Manio, that's the phrase we use here. Spectrum users in the Triad have reported a widespread outage of their internet services. Representatives said the issues affecting cities across North Carolina. Spectrum said the outage was caused by a third party damaging their fiber. Okay. Years ago, a television, I don't want her playing there. See, if I click this story will go away because of the dumbass way this has been designed. Spectrum said the outage caused third party damaging their fiber. The representative couldn't specify what exactly happened or when it will approximately be resolved. They estimate that the outage will be until 8:30. Okay. The first time they tried to put it back on was around 8:30. It came on for a few minutes and then went out again. And now it's more than an hour later and it appears to be on because I'm able to use the internet. Bravo. WFMY in Greensboro, oh, such an advanced guard news station, received a tip from a viewer. Oh, you mean they don't You mean the TV station doesn't use internet feed for anything, so they wouldn't have noticed it? Oh, they don't use Spectrum? What competitor is there? Actually, I think there might be a competitor up there. Who said the outage began around 4 p.m. Meteorologist Tom Buckley reached out to viewers via Facebook. Well, if he did it by way of Facebook, that means he's using an alternative to Spectrum for internet service. It answered the question I posed a moment ago. To see how far-reaching the outage is, getting some reports from people saying, hey, so they want you to comment to them, okay? Let's see if it was beyond. Now, in the younger days of the web, as opposed to the internet, it was downloads from the satellite. But then the United States, because of the usage, did build a fiber backbone for the internet. Not fiber backbone to your houses. They still did that with coaxial cable. But to service the backbone of the United States and to avoid the relay through satellites, they built a fiber network. And it may be that it's more at that level that the damage occurred. Now, I'll show you something in a moment. Spectrum.net outages. Okay, this is troubleshooting. Reboot your modem. Switch and save, need answers fast, security moving, storm center speed test. They're not going to put it on their front page, just like when major companies have ransomware attacks, they don't put it on their front page. They let you find out indirectly the way I do through people who... All right, now let me show you something. Internet cables cut in France. This is what started yesterday or the day before with the initiation of the opening ceremonies of the Olympics. Saboteurs cut internet cables in latest disruption during Paris Olympics. Long-distance cables, which is what we may be talking about in our case, a long-distance backbone cable that served at least Spectrum in North Carolina. Remember, Spectrum is up and down the east coast of the United States. And it used to be Time Warner Cable. It merged with Charter.net. And it's called Spectrum here. And that was at least 5 years ago, or approaching 5 years ago. Long-distance cables were severed across France in a move that disrupted Long distance have been cut as an act of sabotage causing disruption to internet. This is the second disruption during the Olympic Games in Paris after high-speed train lines were targeted in a series of arson attacks as the games kicked off. And why am I bringing this up? Sometimes there's copycats. Was it 2 years ago here in North Carolina there was some major power outages because there was a small group of individuals, 2 or 3 individuals, that were going to not to the main power stations, but like I have down the road here a mile, substation road, but more rural ones where there are a series of transformers for the rural distribution, and they were shooting up the transformers and killing the electrical service across half of a county. You never know what people are going to do. On the other hand, we may find out that in the Spectrum case, It was an innocent thing like, now let's think about the project out here that I've been reporting to you. And that 2 days ago I said I found some new flags. They're going to be trenching my side of the road, not in the road, but my side of the road. They're going to be trenching sometime in the next year, period, to place a 21-inch diameter water line in there. And I've been reporting to you in a series of videos that I keep seeing signs like them boring out in the road out here, soil subsampling, all these different people who have buried something here, like fiber, among other things, water lines, telephone lines, electrical lines, traffic control lines, all buried under the ground. Not all of them are on the telephone poles. And why are they coming and surveying and GPSing them and making a master map? Because when they come and start trenching to bury the 21-inch line, they are going to hit things that they're going to have to break. So they don't want to have the interruption to be knocking everything out. People who own those facilities that unavoidably will have to be cut, like out here, will be standing by to put them back into service either after the dirt is filled in or rerouting it. But that's not sabotage, that's planning ahead. But there's going to be outages of certain kinds of services, unless some of them, like internet, fiber, they come and they reroute it before the trenching begins. Got it? It'll be interesting to see what this turns out to be as to where the... Now, we saw that there were possibly outages further. So, all right, one more search. Spectrum outage, Greensboro, Winston-Salem, map, Kernersville, High Point, Burlington. That's all this North Carolina. Let's see if there's a map. Spectrum outage map. Page not available. We understand you'd like to know about the outages in California. Unfortunately, we can only access that information if you are currently in the state of California. Let's sign in. See, it says Charter Communications, 2024. This is California. Now, all I was doing was going by what outage information and troubleshooting. That's not going to be anything. All right, we saw that page before. Pardon me for, I'm investigating. We already know about down detector. Spectrum Storm Center, get outage, or let's try that. That's if electricity goes. Spectrum outage in Asheboro. That's 4 miles down the road. Problems in the last 24 hours in Asheboro. Now, it says full outage map. Let's see what they give us. Oh, we got it. We got it. We got it. just in case you can't see it, this is North Carolina. And where is Asheboro, Greensboro? Right here. Now, why would there be clustering like this? This, and this. And the more red it is, the more complaints or outages that they have automatically reporting occurring. In other words, if it's up here in Kentucky, this is some kind of local thing happening there. A tree fell on something. But what we see here is a loop along a main highway system. Because that's the Raleigh area. Have I got the... I don't think that's us. Let me look. Yeah, I got it right. I got it right. Now we see the cities. Where's Asheboro? Right here. Did we have an outage? Yes. Did Greensboro have an outage? Yes. Now what did I say? Raleigh's got the outage too. So here's Interstate 40 going like that. It continues this way, but then there's 85 that goes down towards Charlotte. So there is something that's affected primarily the Piedmont of North Carolina. It isn't, but it also goes down into South Carolina. I'm going to discount Columbia. South Carolina is more sparsely populated than North Carolina. We are like the 9th or 10th in population. When I originally came to North Carolina, we weren't. But at that time, the Raleigh area was growing its population by 10% every year. Figure that out on compound interest. And we're now going to have a big thing just down the road that way. So is this primarily a North Carolina, Western South Carolina outage? Yes. Are there outages somewhere else? And it also is linking this way. So it's a feed that services North Carolina, South Carolina. Okay. I'm glad I did a little searching, and finally we found the spectrum map itself. Okay, now this is I'm going to pat myself on the back. I'm retired. When I worked for that internationally known, internationally operating IT company, they paid me the big money for a reason. You saw how I worked my way through it. Not everybody has those skills. You say, well, this is not that much. Not everybody has the skills to find the answer. And I was one of those go-tos when they couldn't find the answer. And I didn't think the way the rest of the crowd did. And I often did find the answer that the crowd had been working on for a while and couldn't figure out. But I didn't think the way many of my colleagues did. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, I know I'm strange. All right? Steve AB4EL. I'll be looking to see if they tell us what exactly happened. But kudos to Spectrum and the crews, wherever it was, I'm guessing it wasn't easy to fix, and they got it done. Thank you. Steve AB4EL saying, see you in 73.